Hey Frag fam, Corbin here from Northwest Scent, and today we're going to be covering a very special topic in my opinion. We're going to be covering 5 amazing fragrances that are really popular and or sought after, and then their awesome alternatives. So not necessarily clones, but something that gives a very similar vibe and is either more affordable or similar in price maybe, but just a better option. So if that sounds interesting to you guys, stay tuned. But first, let's roll that intro. Alright, welcome back. So how we're going to structure this video is I'm going to start with the more popular or the bigger fragrance essentially, and just kind of cover the basics on it, and then I will transition over and present the alternative. So kicking it right off, we're going to be starting with Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino at number 5. Now everybody knows about this fragrance. It's an amazing summer Tom Ford offering. Has lots of citruses like bergamot, lemon, orange, as well as neroli of course, and then some other herbaceous notes. And then like I said, this is an amazing summer fragrance. It's very unisex. It is quite expensive though. Even just the regular Neroli Portofino is pretty pricey, well above triple digits. This one's even more. I think they're both applicable just because they're both really similar, but this can be out of many people's price range. And an amazing alternative that I actually just recently discovered, but I've been wearing a lot, especially out of the shower, is 4711. So fun fact, Neroli Portofino is actually based on this fragrance. It's not a copy, but it's based on this. And they share a lot of the same notes as well. Bergamot, lemon, orange, as well as some other white florals. This one doesn't have neroli. This one has jasmine, I believe, which can give a kind of similar vibe to neroli. In this case, it's used as a fresh scent, so it's not a very floral scent. It's a lot fresher, but they're really, really similar. And this one is like less than $20, even for the biggest bottle. This 75 milliliter tester I got for, I think, $9, but it's just so cheap. And the amazing thing about this one is it's super high quality. When I bought it, it was basically just a throwaway, just to get some extra money in my basket so that I could get a discount. And that was basically all I got it for. But this actually surprised me a ton. It's very natural smelling. The only issue is it's an eau de cologne. It does not perform the greatest, but for something that cheap, you can just spray away, apply every couple hours and you're gonna be good to go. And I'm telling you, this is an amazing bang for your buck. So my recommended fragrance alternative to Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino or Neroli Portofino Forte is 4711. The number 4 popular fragrance on my list is one that actually got recently discontinued, at least in the second half of 2020. It has flankers that have been discontinued for a couple years, and they're reaching $200, $300 for a bottle. So I could definitely see this one going down this route, especially since this one in particular was quite popular. Of course, I'm referring to YSL's L'Homme Ultime. Now, this one has that amazing ginger note that we're all familiar with from the original L'Homme. However, it also has some bergamot for extra freshness and a little bit of zinginess, as well as rose. But it's not a very feminine rose. It's pretty masculine. This is definitely not a feminine fragrance. But the next one, or the alternative I should say, is one that I had before this actually, but when I got Ultime in, I sold off this alternative. Not because the alternative is worse, but just because they were so similar. And at that point, I didn't see the need to own 2. And since this one was a little bit higher quality one, I kept it. But that doesn't take away from the alternative. Now, like I said, I sold it off, so I don't have the bottle with me, but I will put a picture of it right here. And I am referring to Azzaro's Ginger Lover. So that was a new release last year, and like I said, they were extremely close, so close I sold it off. They both share the note of ginger. However, Azzaro Ginger Lover also has lime and vetiver. So it's missing the rose note, but that floral nuance from Ultime doesn't impact the similarity much. And because of that, they really do come across as almost the same smell. It's really hard to differentiate them outside that nuance. On top of that, Azzaro Ginger Lover can be found for like $30, maybe $40 max for 100 milliliter size. So literally half the price of Ultime. So if you don't own either, I would 100% recommend just getting Azzaro Ginger Lover. They're so similar. The quality is very similar, and you just can't really beat that. So again, my recommendation is Azzaro Ginger Lover. The third popular fragrance on this list is one from the House of Parfums de Marly. Now, last summer, there was actually limited distribution of this fragrance, partially due to COVID, and it was extremely hard to find, and the prices just skyrocketed up into like the 250s, up to maybe even 300. So even now, it's still selling for like $180 for a 125 milliliter size bottle. It is an amazing scent, but it's super expensive. And of course, I'm referring to Carlisle. Now, this fragrance, oh my gosh, it smells so good, but it has notes of green apple, rose, and patchouli. I feel like I can detect some oud in here too, but it's not on the note list, so we're just rolling with those three. But it's just such a perfect men's floral fragrance. The patchouli adds this kind of chocolatey nuance. The green apple adds just a little bit of freshness. This is honestly a masterpiece. However, the alternative can be found for about a third of the price for the same size bottle. On top of that, it has an added tobacco note, which makes it just a little more sensual and interesting. Now, I don't have a full bottle of this one, but I have had samples. This is the current sample I have, and I've worn it multiple times, and I'm telling you, they are super close. And of course, I'm referring to Mancera's, let's see if we can get that to focus, Red Tobacco. So Red Tobacco obviously has tobacco. It does have oud, as well as some patchouli and a little bit of vanilla. So honestly, they do share quite a bit of notes. Wearing them side by side, especially on the opening, they're really hard to differentiate. In the dry down, it becomes a little more obvious just because the tobacco kind of rises up after that oud kind of tames out, and then some of the fruity notes kind of burn off as well. But even into the dry down, they do smell really similar. And of course, Mancera Red Tobacco, it's known for its beast performance. I've gotten 10 plus hours, even up to 12 hours with this one, which is more than I've even gotten with Carlisle. Carlisle is a good performing fragrance, but not nearly as good as Mancera's Red Tobacco. Honestly, I don't know why I haven't gotten a bottle of this yet. I probably will soon. But for the price, 100% my recommendation of the two is Mancera's Red Tobacco. The number 2 more popular fragrance on this list is known as a date night seductive scent. A lot of people talk about it. It's owned by quite a few people. It's relatively affordable too. Bottles sell for about $35 to maybe $45 for a 100 milliliter size. It has whiskey, leather, cardamom, a lot of sensual notes. And of course, I'm referring to Carolina Herrera's CH Men Privé. Now, don't get me wrong, this is an amazing scent. The issue with this is performance. For being such a dark sounding scent, it doesn't last long at all. It burns off on me in like 4 hours. I maybe get 5 hours at best, which granted, it is cheap, so that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the alternative is higher quality smelling. It performs better, and it just smells better in my opinion. And I'm referring to Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male Essence de Parfum. So this is the fragrance I was talking about that is actually more expensive than the popular fragrance on this list. However, it's not much more expensive. Like I said, that one goes for about $35, maybe $40, somewhere around there. This one can go for about $60 for the 125 milliliter size. So you're actually getting more juice as well. Now this one has notes of lavender, leather, and vanilla. So you get the leather similarity between the two. This one doesn't smell quite as similar as the rest on this list, but you do get very similar vibes. And like I said, this one smells just much better and it performs a lot better. On top of that, you get that really cool bottle. I just love the clear, transparent look with like the chiseled body. I don't know, maybe it's tacky, but I like it. But I just prefer this one, honestly, to CH Men Privé. Every situation where I would reach for CH Men Privé, I would prefer to reach for this one. So that's why I'm recommending it. It's not super popular. I don't see a ton of people talk about it. So if you haven't tried this one, definitely check it out. Like I said, it's still really affordable, even though it's a little more than CH Men Privé. So again, my recommendation is Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male Essence de Parfum. The number 1 popular fragrance in this list is one that actually just got recently discontinued, along with a lot of the other fragrances in its line. Prices have already skyrocketed by like $50 from what they were selling even like 2 months ago. This is actually the fragrance that inspired me to make this video, and I'm referring to Tom Ford's Plum Japonais. So this fragrance, of course, has plum. It also has cinnamon, amber, vanilla. So it's got a lot of sweet notes. It's very spicy. It's got that unique kind of dark, fruity, kind of almost like a cherry smell from the plum. And there's really nothing else out there that smells like it. This thing basically stands alone except for the alternative, which I'm about to recommend. When I got this fragrance, it was a blind buy. I didn't hear anything about it smelling similar to Plum Japonais. I just heard it was a good fragrance. When I snatched it up, I immediately thought of Plum Japonais. And I'm referring to Serge Lutens 5 o'clock au gingembre. So this is an amazing fragrance, guys. It has bergamot, cinnamon, amber, and honey. So it shares the amber and the cinnamon. However, the fruity note of bergamot makes this a little bit brighter on the opening, but like a lot of citrus notes, they're very volatile and they burn off really quickly. So after about 30 minutes and that bergamot disappears, this smells, I would say 90% similar to Plum Japonais. And of course it has honey instead of vanilla, which Plum Japonais has. But I'm telling you, these really do smell very similar. Now that Plum Japonais is selling for over $200, it's just not worth it. It's a great fragrance, but it has to be left in the past at this point, in my opinion. The size I have right here, it's the 50 milliliter size. I bought it for about $50, I believe, and you should be able to get 100 milliliter size for about $80. So honestly, designer pricing, not too bad at all. On top of that, you're getting niche quality here, no less than Tom Ford. And like I said, based on how similar they do smell, in my opinion, it's just not worth it to go hunt down a bottle of Plum Japonais. You're gonna be way overpaying when you can basically get the same thing right here. So again, my recommendation is Serge Lutens 5 o'clock au gingembre. Well, there it is, 5 popular fragrances and their amazing alternatives. If you guys buy any of these alternative fragrances, you're gonna smell just as good as the more popular ones, but at a generally more affordable price. So I hope you guys learned something. If you guys enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate leaving a like, as well as leaving a comment. And while you're down there, subscribing and then hitting the bell notification, just so you guys stay up to date on new videos when they're released. I've been putting a lot of work into this channel recently, so every single subscriber means a lot to me and I really appreciate it. And with that, I hope you guys have a good one, stay healthy, stay wealthy, and smell great.